Welcome, everybody, to the second episode of the Found Faith podcast. I am your host, Will, and I'm joined by my co-host over here.
Daniel?
You going by Daniel now?
Oh, Dan? No, so I go by Daniel. You call me Danny.
Yeah. Oh, is that not your...
Do
Do you like going by Daniel or Danny?
I think family-wise, Danny.
Oh, awkward. He said he said family-wise. Well, I call
But
you...
you family.
Hey, no, but that's crazy because I've never heard anybody call you Daniel at this church.
Girl?
Yeah. But yes, we are your co-hosts. Like I said, I'm Will, and he is Daniel for y'all, but for me, it's Danny because, we're family. Just kidding. It's Danny for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
just,
no, that's
okay.
good. It's good. It's
No,
good.
and we're hyped and excited about this second episode of the Found Faith podcast. And we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we
Because
do.
you actually told me this week that you're excited to go to the pod because we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we're limiting our conversations. But bro, let's just start with the simple. How are you doing, bro? How's your week been?
Gotcha. Yeah, dude. I think my week's been not interesting, but I think it's been busy just because of work. Right now we have like a team member that's out on vacation. So lucky for my team member. They're out.
But you're suffering because of that.
Yeah. So now I have to open and close. So I'm like getting there at 7, leaving at 5. And
Yeah, close at 5.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's not too bad, but it's like I'm still driving from Fort Worth. So it's like I still got to
shoot.
make that drive. And I've been getting there late in the mornings, low key.
Not too late though, right?
No.
Okay.
But it's been kind of difficult because I'm also like transitioning with the Fort Worth house a little bit. I might be moving. So it's just a lot going on right now with the fam.
So it's just been
busy.
movement, like just
Yeah.
work wise, life wise. It's just been
Moving.
Yeah.
Moving.
no, it's
But it's been good, dude.
It's been
It's
good.
been good. I'm like super excited to be here now. And like, this is what I look forward to now.
just to
Come talk to you.
converse.
Come talk to you, dude.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I'm glad your week was good. I know you're laughing, but my week, bro.
How's
has
it going,
been-
dude? Tell us. How's it going?
It started off super chill. I
Okay.
told my wife, we're gonna talk about that event that happened last Saturday, but
Yeah.
I told my wife that after that weekend, I was like, I'm just gonna take a chill week.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that my week kind of took a 180.
Mhm.
I have to preach twice this weekend. So it's like writing sermons is,
Yeah.
I just been kind of hard to put 2 sermons in 1 week, and that's crazy. But like you said, I look forward to just being part of the, this podcast, this community, what's going on. And so busy, but I'm good. Like I'm in a good headspace.
That's good, dude. So if you want to come see him preach twice, we'll be here.
In Spanish though. In Spanish though.
So it'll be a good time, dude.
Bro. But
Yeah.
we do have to talk about what happened this last week.
Yes, sir.
So
Let's talk about it.
this last weekend we had an identity Sabbath, right? Where we were kind of
Yes.
unveiling the new vision statement of our community.
Mm-hmm.
Before I say anything, I want to ask you, what did you think of the service we had March 30th?
I got you. So service-wise, I think I really enjoyed it, dude. Or I enjoyed kind of the sermon you gave. I enjoyed seeing that this whole room was packed, dude.
Yeah,
it was packed. It was hot, but it was packed.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
this AC doesn't work up here. So the room, how many people do you think normally like on in Alchemy come?
Man,
Like 60?
mine, yeah, I would say 60, 70. This Saturday, I feel like we passed like the 100, 120.
So I have a number for you.
Oh,
that
really?
My producers told me. Shout out to my
Okay.
producers. They said 120,
Oh,
but not counting the children.
oh, okay.
So I'm gonna count the children. I'm gonna say about 130. So 130, and y'all can't really see the room. You only see this set,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
130 in this room is kind of ridiculous. And it was hot. It was hot, but it was a blessing. So you thought overall it was good?
Yeah, dude. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything. I enjoyed, like I was saying, I enjoyed seeing everybody come and just gather together. We saw new faces, old faces. It just seemed like everyone was enjoying themselves, and I really enjoyed seeing that. I know we had a little bit of hiccups here and there with our sound, but we made the best out of it. Even the worship was really good. I will say like Shayla at the end was killing it.
Lean back.
Yeah. So
Oh wait, the Christian song though. I just need that one phrase. No, but it was a blessed Sabbath. We unveiled our vision statement, where faith finds home. I don't know if I'm getting the shot, but it's the shirt here, and it's we're very excited because we have this new mindset when it comes to this community, this ministry, where faith finds home. And you mentioned the fact that we had new faces.
Yeah.
But what I love, bro, is we had faces that we hadn't seen in years, right? And I think that's great because we're creating that environment where people are okay to start seeing like, hey, what's this about? And that's kind of the step we want to go to, where faith finds home.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we hyped it up too, like
social media.
Yeah, we were trying to push it out there, invite as many people as we could, and I think it was a good turnout. And I think just going forward, we continue doing the same thing, and eventually, we're gonna be having to figure out what we're gonna do, where we're gonna move. That's the goal, right?
I mean, the goal is to have a place, that we can worship together. And 1:30 is kind of crazy, bro.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy. But that Saturday was also good and a blessing because we also unveiled the podcast as well, right? So we kind of the way we kind of did it is we unveiled the vision statement. We talked about the importance of community, but also the importance of getting to know the individuals. And that's when we introduced the podcast. So how did you feel about the premiere of the podcast? How are you feeling about the podcast? Like maybe 2 weeks later after?
Look, I'll be honest. So we unveiled it, right? We showed a clip at during service, and it was awesome to see everybody see it. I'll be honest. After I left, like church, we went to go eat with family, and then after that, I went home. And I went home, got on my knees and prayed and just told God, thank you. Like there was a sense of gratitude that came from me. And it was just like, I don't know, part of me just felt happy with how everything went and really just left it in God's hands. Like if you notice, I didn't even put it on my story. Like I didn't really promote it. Like I didn't do anything because I think for me, the first episode, it was for God. And like everything from there is like for him. So I was just like, God, it's yours. Like you take it wherever you got to take it. And yesterday, like my sister texted me and it was like, it was at 103 views already. I was like, yo, that's just awesome.
Yeah. And that's the correct mindset to look at things, like you do your part and then let God just take the rest, and especially because we believe in what we're doing so much, the importance of it. And it's, we just have to let God continue to handle everything. Because
I will say, like, and sorry to interrupt, but I do want to say on here, like, right now we're talking about 100 views. Later we're going to be surprised about 1,000 views, million views. That's where it's going to go, dude.
A million views? He's just Danny's that guy, bro, when it comes to casting out visions and goals. But what I will tell you, though.
Yeah.
I underestimated what all went into like the production. Of like if it was just me and you, bro, I don't know, because Gary held it down, Isaac held it down, Diane and Natalie held it down, and it was just one of those things that, bro, I don't know how Gary and Isaac did their thing, but I thought the quality was great. Like I shared in the first episode that my idea was just hit Zoom, record, and post, and they're taking it next level, and further, and that's episode 1. You know what I'm saying? So that excites me. Oh. And also shout out to Eleni, because Eleni worked really hard on the logo that you guys see, and I know Diana was helping her as well. And so she worked on that logo, and everything is just kind of coming together.
Yeah, everything worked out the way it was supposed to. That logo.
That Friday was kind of intense. Like, we were talking back and forth. Danny come like 3-4 times that Friday.
Just trying to finalize things.
Yeah. He's trying to find.
But dude, that whole process, I really enjoyed. Like. It was just, I was happy to see it unfold. And like I said, it was just a sense of gratitude.
And this is like the first episode where we are trying to do what the podcast was designed for, right? That's going to be the intriguing part of actually getting to know the people that we are trying to get to know. And how do you feel about the importance and need still of the community, like getting to know one another?
Man, I think this is what it is. Like we want people to know our community. We want our community to share their stories. Because I know with our guest that we have today, I've known him for a while, like since I came to this church, highly respected gentleman. But I don't really know his story.
You don't know his story?
No.
So this is the thing. So we have a guest today.
Yeah.
We have a guest today, and we're going to introduce him in a bit. But like Danny was saying, this man has, how long have you known him? Since you came to the church, like you said last week, like since you were 10, right?
Yeah. So
20 years, right?
Yeah.
You know him for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I met him in 2015, and like straight from meeting him, I knew like, oh yeah, this guy's a boss. This guy's a boss. Yeah. So how about you introduce our first guest?
So before I introduce him, right, I do want to share a story, because and his name will be Mr. Oliver Wong, but we'll call him Mr. Wong.
Mr. Wong.
Mr. Wong, because the one little story I want to say is he was pretty much like the last kind of inspiration to get me to push you to start.
Oh, really? I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, because he came up to Alchemy. He had a service, and he let himself be vulnerable in that service in front of everybody. And it was just like, to me, it kind of, it touched me. At the same time, it was like, this is what I want to do with the podcast. And
The story aspect.
yeah, the story. And then it kind of happened that Saturday, and then that Sunday, I walked in. You were with Adan.
Oh, yeah.
You guys both looked at me and said, "Hey, we need you to be the director for the sound room." And I told you, "Hey, all right,
He made a deal with me.
yeah, we need to start this podcast." So I'm very excited to.
No, yeah. So it's fitting that he is the first guest because
Yes, sir.
I actually remember that sermon.
Yeah.
And it was a very powerful sermon. He shared stories.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and I think that's part of the power of stories.
Mhm.
And I'm really glad that you were there to listen to that, and then it pushed that domino effect
Yeah.
to have him here with us. So
Yeah. So to introduce Mr. Oliver Wong, Mr. Wong, if you could come through,
thank you,
And,
Mr. Wong.
and we'll have you sit in the Will called it the hot chair. But
Hello, you guys.
I guess what?
yeah. I feel
Yeah,
like shit.
we all here.
Yeah.
So
Wow, what a privilege! Oh wow,
and
I feel nervous now.
no,
Really?
you shouldn't be nervous. You shouldn't be nervous at all because, like Danny said, like you were someone instrumental for wanting us to do what we are doing here today, and we kind of just want to know a little more about who you are, what you do. So let's a little more specific.
Mhm.
What is your role in this community? Like what? Like how does Danny know you? How do I know you? Like what's your role here?
What do you do, Mr. Wong?
Well, first, I just want to say thank you first for inviting me for this new adventure that you all doing. I feel part of it already, even though I'm not doing the things that you all doing because you're in charge of everything. But just by just seeing you doing it, just by being here for this moment, and see, probably everybody don't see all the teams in the back here, but this is just beautiful. And I just want to say thank God first for doing this, for put that into your heart to do something like this. And I just want that you continue doing this because it will be a blessing. It is a blessing already. I didn't know that, Danny, what you was talking about. As I say always, and I keep that in my heart always, when you preach, you're not preaching necessarily for other people, you're preaching for you. That's the first. If there is a message, God give you the message, if the message change you, the message make an impact in your life, probably will make an impact in other, but it's not you. It's always God, the Holy Spirit. So, but I just thank God for that, no? To put that into your heart. Now, what I do in here, I'm a servant. I just serve. I just serving. I've been in this church, Oak Cliff Church, for more than 20 years. From the time I came here, the community and the church received me and my family with open arms, and I see the authentic membership that we have, and I just love it. As Danny was saying, I know him and his family from so many years. They're a good friend for us. Rosalba, your mom and your dad, we are really close to them too. So, and I just love the community of the church. As I say, as a servant, we serve in different roles here right now. Well, I serve as a elder, one of the elder, the first elder. But the most important thing is my position is a servant because that's the most important one. You're serving people.
And I'm glad that you phrased it that way because he kind of said it quick. You know, like he's the head elder of the church.
Yeah.
And I love how you kind of said, I'm the head elder, but I'm the servant. I'm a servant. And that kind of mindset is important, you know, because listen, in our church, someone who is a head elder is someone that is, you know, respected, is someone who's seen as a role model, someone who's seen as a pastor,
as a leader.
Yeah, as a leader.
Yeah.
But and the fact that you called yourself a servant, first and foremost, is kind of the trait you need as someone who is a head elder. And the reason, especially why Danny was so adamant to have you on, is because since we're trying to build this community, since you are someone who all these kids growing up like, oh, this is Ivana Wong, you know, the head elder Wong. We kind of want to get to know you, not just the head elder Wong, you know, but just who you are as a person. So that's why we're so excited to sit here and get to know your story. I know Danny was like, oh, I don't know Wong's story. I want to get to know.
I'm curious.
Okay.
Well, you can tell us a little bit more about where you're from. You know,
Okay.
You're a father, a grandfather. You know,
Yeah.
a little bit of your interest.
The 20 years.
What happened to the hand?
Oh,
Well, recently, when I say recently, like probably a year and a half or a little more, year and a half or something else extra. I've been enjoying doing mountain bike. And Friday I went on mountain bike and it was just having a good time in the trail. And for some reason, a tree decided to get in my way. It just moved in my way. I like, why you do that? But then I just put my hand, stood my fingers, but it didn't broke or nothing like that. It just spring. But well, that's what I enjoying right now. I love the mountain bike.
he actually has a video of him jumping off the cliff.
Oh yeah, that was a crazy one.
It was actually
that was. I don't know why I did that one, but yes.
crazy.
But yes, I'm a father, 3 beautiful girls. I have 2 grandsons now from my daughter, my older daughter, Eleni. Those 2 ones are crazy, but I love them. They're 24/7. They just can't stop, and I love that. We're gonna have a lot of fun when they grow up in the trail, doing mountain bike with them.
You still gonna be mountain biking?
Yeah, oh, definitely. They're gonna be there because I need to train them. But what else? I'm a teacher by heart and by vocation. So I love math. That's my area. Math. So I can teach anything in math all the way to college if you want it, if you need help on that too. But the main point is that at the end, when we talk about the church, is just serving just to help. And I love that part of being in the church, just serving and I feel like we are a community that we help each other and we pray for each other. That's the part I really like about this. I don't want to mention everything, because
stories. But I mean, it kind of explains why he's the first elder. Like he's been the first elder for many years.
Yeah, sometimes I'm serving in different areas. This way.
Yeah.
Now, but yes, that's what I'm doing right now at the church.
Yeah. So that being said, Mr. Wong, I guess we kind of, our producer sent you the questions.
Yeah.
We wanted you to kind of think a little bit about, what you wanted to share. Just kind of have the week to, ponder on that a little bit. So really, to start us off is, how did you find your faith? When did you start? Was it young, old? What brought you to your faith?
Well, I have to start in a small city called Almirante, Bocas del Toro. That's in Panama. Bocas del Toro. That's the
Cool.
state.
Isn't that a tourist spot too?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's this state in Panama, and it's a small town in Almirante. I was very young. Probably people that, probably you all know, but the people that seen the podcast do not know. They're asking, why is this last name is Wong? So it's part of that, is that because I want to make sure everybody understand that my background, my ascendant family, it's a mix. It's a mix, okay? Very mix. I have from my father's side, yes, my great grandpa or my grandpa was a Chinese from China, Wong. So he married a Panamanian woman, and she was half black also too. And so my dad born is Won also too, Chinese. I have Won Wood, that's my last name, Won Wood. From my mother's side, I have also a Wood come from England. So my great grandpa was from England, and he married a Panamanian woman that from Jamaica too. So she was black, so he's a mix also too. So and then the Hispanic family. So I have Asia, Hispanic, black, and white in my family. So I cannot complain. I cannot complain.
And the grandchildren, Mexican.
Oh yeah, the Mexican part. Yeah. Well, so that's for just for the last name. So, but my story of faith, I would say, started in that small town because I did not grow up in the church, and that's the first thing. I did not grow up in the church. My parents was not in the church. We was basically learn all the things in the world that in those days.
Was there any church in where you grew up?
My grandpa, my grandma from my mother's side, they started the Adventist church late in their life, of course. So for that reason, when I visit my grandparents, there was a connection going with them because I love my grandparents, and so they take us Saturdays to the church when we visit them and things like that. And my mom like, well, yeah, you have to go, even though it was not necessarily something that we are accustomed to do it in my father and my mother house. But well, you love your grandparents, you follow them, you go with them, but there was not necessarily a big connection because after we finished that, we go back again to our regular life with my parents, and it was a different. We didn't grow up in a church, so with my brothers, I have 5 brothers. So, well, I guess to be clear that we didn't do things not necessarily that the church will allow you to do. No, you just living in the world. But by the time I was finishing high school, I remember that my grandpa he was a farmer, and also he had cows in his farm. So he was able to have a small, shop, small business. So I was one of those in charge of taking care of the shop. So I finished when I go in the morning to the school, and in the afternoon, around 2:00 after finish eat or things, I just in charge of the small business. So one day before graduation, my grandma came to me like, "What are you planning to do? What is your goal? What are you doing?" Okay, I said, "Well, I just planning to keep saving money here in the job and then go to university in Panama. I was planning to go to the Panama City." So she said to me, and this is this is where it started. She said to me, "What if I talk to your grandpa and we help you to go to our university in Costa Rica, Alajuela, Costa Rica?" I like, wow, young as I was, and I just like, wow, experience going a different place. And I was so excited, but not in the right way, because I was not thinking in necessary college. I was thinking in all the things that I'm going to do. Free. I'm going to be free.
Yeah.
And do all the craziness that I was planning to do as a young person, not in the church. And I was so excited I already got plans for everything. But something that I never passed or I never asked is that my grandma have a different plan. But I didn't know the plan that she had. So I tell her, yes. And they talk and they said, well, you going to Costa Rica, Alajuela? Yeah, okay, yeah. They get all the things ready. And I remember I traveled with my mom. My mom took me to the university. And when I get to Alajuela in Costa Rica, it was the Adventist University in Alajuela, Costa Rica.
So they trapped me.
Una década. And honestly told you that when I was excited. The travel was, everything was good. Everything was fine until I get to the place and I see the sign. It's the Adventist University. I didn't want to do nothing with church. Mm. My mentality was not ready for church. I was doing things that is not perfect for people in the church. Mm-hmm. My mind was not ready for church. I was out of the church. So when I see that sign, I'm like, what? I'm not going to stay here. So I tell my mother, I didn't know we was coming, but they never tell me, my grandma never tell me it was the Adventist University, because there is an Alajuela, Costa Rica University. So that's the one I was thinking. But she never say, oh, you're going to the Adventist University. I was disappointed at that moment. I didn't. So my mom said, well, look, we're here already. They're waiting for us, because the arrangement was to make sure we see the place, and they have somebody to give her a tour and everything. Okay. So I'm like, okay, we're going to do that, but I'm not going to change my mind. This is not the place for me. My mentality is not for this place, and I know this is church stuff, and I'm not for this kind of stuff. So we did the tour and everything, and when you have a negative mindset, everything is wrong. Everything is bad. Everything doesn't look good. Anything they show me, this is bad. I find in everything, I find something bad. Mm-hmm. I didn't like it at all. So my mom, she was already mad with me because I was just complaining for everything. So she like, you know what? And this is where everything changed. She like, you know what? We're going back. You want to go back? Let's go back. But you are the one that's going to tell your grandma why you're coming back. Mm-hmm. Oh, when my mom say that.
She put you on the spot.
Yeah, she put me on the spot, because there was one thing. I didn't like the church. I didn't like anything about that place at all. But one thing, disappointing to my grandma. I will never do that. My grandma, my mom, I love my mom, but my grandma, oof. I could never say something bad against my grandma. She was the best grandma in the world for me. Mm-hmm. The love she showed me, I could never do something to hurt my grandma. So I knew, because she was so excited when I was leaving. And I didn't know why she was so excited. She had a plan. Mm-hmm. And she already got it. I don't know what I guess God talked to her and told her what to do, but I didn't know. So what I told my mind is, you know what? I will sacrifice myself. That's the truth. So I told her, I will sacrifice myself. I will spend 4 years here just to make sure my grandma, just to make sure I don't say to my grandma what I left this university. And after this, I'm going to do whatever I want. Mm-hmm. In my mind, 4 years, we'll go quick. I study. I comply with my grandma. I'm done. So she said, okay, you want to do that? Yeah, I will fight it here. I can make it up. So my plan to survive those 4 years was, okay, I'm going to be here, but I'm not going to be close to anyone from this church. So I went to the men's or boys' dorm, and I started looking who is not a Seventh-day Adventist, because we have people that they're not from the church. So I start looking. You from? Oh, you from the church? Oh, okay. I don't like it. I don't like it either. You from the church? I don't like it. So in my mind, I make it up. So I find out a couple of people that was not from the church. 4 of us. So you know what? We're gonna be in a room, and they agree because they was doing the same thing. They just like, we don't want to mix with these people because we was doing other stuff. And I just start my place in this dorm with people that not from the church, and we definitely didn't do things the right way. We was doing all the stuff behind the scene, not doing the things right. We even not even go to the church on Saturday because even when you're in the dorm, they have worship every morning. They have worship on Saturday and Wednesday, on Saturday off for sure. And we find ways to just keep hiding or cover ourselves, helping each other to not do any one of these stuff.
Calling in sick.
Oh, you cannot imagine. We escape the dorms at night, and we go to different places. I was doing all this stuff.
So it's from what I'm hearing right now, it's your whole life. You were around the church aspect of it, but not in a church because of your grandma.
Yeah, not my whole life. Remember, as I said, my grandma learned the church when she was old, late.
So how old were you when she decided?
How old were you?
Because it's crazy that she went from discovering the faith in the church to sending her grandson to that college.
Yeah, because I guess that she didn't have the opportunity to do that with her own son and daughter. Yeah, because she learned the church late. Everybody was out of. Her own son and daughter was out of the house, so she was working toward the grandson. So that's the way I see it now, because that's what she was trying to do, I guess. But the point is that during that time with my friends from not the church, then I just was not doing things right. Anyway, the time passed, and I would say the Lord started working because the pastor in charge of the dorm find out that I was keeping, that I was hiding, so he started chasing me. Every morning he come to my door and start knocking the door. Hey, Oliver. It's time to go worship. Every single morning, and I giving excuses every day or every morning. So, one day yes, one day no. So we start going there and here and there. I would say a year and a half after I was in the university, we was friends with other people, but something that was really bad in my mind. I did not want to have no relation with people from the church, even though I was in the Adventist University. So I was really picky of who I will talk or be friend. If you tell me, oh, you're from you're from Seventh Adventist, so I like, okay, nice, but I will say nicely, but I will not talk to you too much. I will just move away, and because I'm looking for other type of friendship.
You didn't build no friendships with them.
No, I was not building no friendship with that. Even my wife, Melania, I like her the first year.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to for you to get to.
Yeah. I see that girl, and I'm like, whoa, she's looking good, but she knew already that, and I was not going to the right intention that first year because I was not in the church, and she knew I was not in the church. So when I asked her out, she's like, no, you're not from the church. And she just told me like that, no.
Wait, so just to clarify to the people listening, Mr. Wong was so adamant to stay away from every Adventist in that university.
But not for that girl specifically.
But he saw a girl that caught his eye.
Yeah.
Ironically,
It backfired.
yeah, it backfired because 30 years later?
Yeah.
They're still together. So that Adventist woman he tried to avoid his wife 30 years later. So you guys met at that college?
Yeah. So she caught my attention and she told me, you're not Adventist, so you don't have no chance with me. So okay, you're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss it. I just trying to play the role, but I was not in the right intention. Anyway, so I have a girl's friend that they was not Adventist too. And I still remember that was the second year. The university have campaign every year. And that was the second campaign season in October. My friends told me after the campaign preaching, they came, we was really close. So they came to me like, Oliver, we want to ask you permission. Like, permission for what? We want to be baptized. Two girls.
They asked for your permission.
They asked me permission because we were close and we was doing things outside the church together as a friend with all the people. So it was weird. And now I think I'm going back and I think like, why they asked me permission? But well, I guess because we was really close. They both of them came like, we want to be baptized, so we want to know what you think. So at that moment, I was like, but you know what? I went with them to the entire campaign. So, and I was touched also too. They didn't know that the Holy Spirit was working also too with me, but I didn't know. I didn't say nothing to anyone. Something that you don't know about me, I was very introvert person. I was not like a huge communicator like you think because, he's a teacher, so he's supposed to be talking. No, I was not a good person. Like I was like more, I see people, I talk a little bit and then I move on. Or if I like you, I talk to you a little more, but if I don't like you, I just like, I don't care. I just move on. I was really not in the right mindset. But anyway, they tell me they're going to be baptized, and I guess I surprised her, both of them, because I tell her, you know what? If you want to be baptized, I want to go with, I will go with you all. Mm. So I tell them, we're going to do it together. They're like, what? Are you sure?
To get baptized or like,
we're going to be
spur of the moment.
And I just going to with you all. We're going to do it together. They already knew. They talked to the pastor in charge at that moment, but the pastor didn't know about me. And the people in the university knew me, so they knew that I was like a little weird person that not talking much. So when the pastor called, and I still remember this part, I don't know why I still remember it, but when they called like the people that want to be baptized, and they see my two friends standing, and then they see me standing, everybody's talking. What? I was surprised that they was talking, but they didn't know that the Holy Spirit was working. I was having a big battle in my own self with all the things that it was, you have your own struggles because of the things or your past. But the Lord make it happen. And that was a blessing. So as soon as I make that decision, I make the decision to not going back to where I was. So the Holy Spirit,
that conviction.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me how it's like you tried so hard to avoid it, but at the end of the day, when, like you said, when the Spirit knocks on your heart and that conviction comes and you make that decision and you don't look back, right? And you think of that 19-year-old, 18-year-old kid at the time, and now you are 50 years, no, sorry, 30 plus years later, and you are, not only still in the church, but, a spiritual mentor in the church. And it came from the ups and downs of your life, and you were able to say yes, to joining the faith. But this is, and I'm sure you're gonna talk about this, and this is where it kind of gets difficult, because you kind of told us how you encountered your faith. You kind of told us how you tried to avoid it, but Grandma was always there pushing and praying, and I'm sure part of the reason you're here today is because all the prayers of your grandma, right? Why you?
I was going to that part. Yes.
Yeah. No, trust me. There's people praying for us constantly, and the Spirit is working. And I know you're gonna talk about this, but I do have to ask, even if it's difficult, any of moments in your life that you encountered the struggle in your faith journey? And the reason I know why it's a hard question is because it's a vulnerable question, you know, and like you said, you're someone that we see Saturday to Saturday, you know, like leading, preaching, teaching, and the vulnerability aspect is not really, you know, easy. So is there a moment in your life that you had that struggle?
When I hear that questions, I think I try to divide it into two different type of questions.
This teacher in you.
Yeah, it's a teacher in me. Yeah, probably. But one thing I have to say before that is that when I went to my grandma, no, I make that decision, well, because the Lord convinced me. And my parents, nobody knew that I baptized because I was in Costa Rica. I did not say any to my family that I was baptized. One of the biggest conflict I have is because and I was talking with the Lord about this, is how I gonna present myself to my own family, my brothers. We was really close, but doing things in the world. Now, I was thinking of, when I go to the church now, I will be the one separating the family because of this. And nobody in my family was Adventist, only my grandparents. You need to understand that. Yeah. And we're talking about uncles, cousins, all family. I like, wow, this is not an easy decision for me at that moment. But I went to my grandma as soon as I was able to take a small weekend. I went back to Panama. I went to my grandma and I tell her the news. I never see my grandma so happy. She jumped. I never see. She was old, but she was jumping. She almost hit the ceiling, and I was just happy to see her. And there's a lot of situation that happened after I baptized with my family, and those probably at a different time. There's a lot of kind of encounters, a situation that happened, but that was a happy moment for me and my grandma. And that moment I knew, she told me obviously, and I didn't know that she was praying for that. That was her prayer. That she was the one making all that happen. But yes, going back to the questions, I separated in two because doubt versus struggles. My problem is, this is my experience. Probably with my experience is that I was already coming from the world. And one thing I realized is that I didn't want to go back to what I had because I have a analyzing kind of mind because of math, I guess. So when I compare the type of life without God and the type of life with God, I didn't want to go back. Struggles, yes. Struggles in the way, yes. Doubt about my faith, no. I don't know if that makes sense, or I don't know if doubt about in who or in what I believe, no. Struggles with that every day, oh yes. And I'm going to mention, and you're right, and some of them probably is really hard to say, some of them not necessarily so hard, but I'm going to put it this way. As soon as I baptized, I decided to work with the Pacific Press. In those days, the Pacific Press, working with publishing, co-porting. And I say to myself, I'm not going to see my family. I need to get the experience or grow in this new journey that I decided to go. If I go to my family right now, that's what I was thinking of. I'm going to lose the track again because my family, everybody was doing something else, not in the church. So I went and they assigned me to go Honduras. I still remember that was a blessing. Honduras. I went to Honduras, and I think even today that was the best decision that the Lord guided me to do, not to go back, just to, you know what, you need to go to the training field. So I went to that place. Yes, many of the students go to trying to find the scholarship, selling the publishing book. But I was looking for something else. Not only to publish, I was looking for having that experience, really. And the Lord gave me that experience. The pastor in charge of that area in Honduras, he was really, we get close to him. We get close like good friends. The churches and everything was going good for me because I was a just newborn baby in the faith. So I have a companion. We was working really good. And I remember one Saturday night with my friend, we decided, you know what, we're already finished the church. We did all the activity. Why we don't go and visit the pastor? We know where he lives in San Pedro Sula. And we decided to go by surprise. We didn't call or anything. Those days it was like that. We take the bus, we stop, we get to the neighborhood, and we start walking Saturday night. And I still remember getting close to his house. I still, Saturday night in the neighborhood is like music all over the place. In those days, I hear music here and there, and I start hearing some of this music that I used to listen when I was in the world, and the people are having a good time. So getting closer and closer, we start hearing that the music more hard and more hard, and I thought, wow, probably the pastor have a hard time. Probably they having this party in front or next to him or just in the same street. I like, wow, poor pastor. He was really loud. So we're getting closer and closer. So when we get to the street with where his house is, it was like the fourth house in that same street going down. When we stand up from the top of the hill and then we see it. Look, my eyes just go directly to his house, and the party was not next to him or in the front or on the side. It was in his house, and he's the pastor. And it shocked me like in second, like bam, 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 bam. The enemy is good. It's good when the things that happen. And it start the mental questioning, like really bad, seconds. And I just come from that world. Mm-hmm. That's the things that I was doing, just going to places like this or going to a place like this and do all kind of stuff there. So, and I was shocked. I couldn't move for a moment. I don't know how many seconds. For me, I feel it was a long time. Probably was not. But my mind was going a million speed, thinking all kind of stuff. The enemy just throwing everything at me. And that is the moment that I have my biggest doubt of everything. Like boom, 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 boom. All kind of questions come out to my head.
Did you look up to this pastor or?
No. We was just standing there. My other friends, we was just. I guess both was in shock. Cause we was not expecting that. So we stand up there. I don't know for how many seconds, how many minutes. We just stand. We didn't move. I was in shock. I was like, "What is this?" And there was one voice. And all the voices that was going over my head in those minutes, second, I don't know how long it was, but it was like killing me. And there was only one voice. And I still remember that voice. And the voice just asked me a question. Do you baptize for a man or for me? The question just was clear. For who you baptize? To who? It's for man. Well, I said in Spanish more than English. But to me or to a man? And answered that question. All the voices in my head, I answered that question. To you, Lord. And all of the voices gone right away. Is what probably I don't want to sound like it's just making. I'm not making this kind of stuff. It's just it happened to me.
Yeah.
So at that moment, I understand that this journey is all about God. My journey of faith is going to be not an easy journey. It make me understand that I have to experience, and I will, and I continue experience things like that. But it's not about men. It's not about me. It's all about Him. That day, the Lord make a big change in my life because I do experience that often in my life later on. But that decision that night was so important to strengthen my faith in Him.
Yeah, and that's why I asked you if you looked up to Him, because that thing you went through is probably something that common in our churches, where people forget that church isn't about the leadership, church isn't about the pastor, church isn't about the sermons, church isn't about the worship, church is about your personal relationship with God. And that question or that voice you heard in your head is like, are you committed to a person or are you committed to me? And I think that's something probably really relatable to people, because guess what? People let you down, no matter who you are.
If you put your faith in people, you will fail.
Mm-hmm.
Your faith should never be based on people. You will need to love people. You need to, relate with them, be sympathize, empathy also too. But your faith should be all about God. It doesn't matter what. And the pastor, we reach out to him, or not we. He reached out to us.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Once you answered that question for yourself, what actions did you take like right after that?
For some reason, the Holy Spirit got everything prepared, because we went and I was just asleep in peace.
I think you went to the party.
I sleep in peace, but that Sunday morning when we...
So you guys never went in?
No. We just went back home.
I just want to make sure.
We just went back home.
Okay.
And Sunday morning, somebody was in a car, just knocking the horn. I was a pastor.
Mm.
And he's like, hey, guys. So we was in an apartment, and then we went down. We didn't tell him that we was there yet.
Okay.
He said to us, I want you two to come with me. We're going to go to a church. In those places, they have churches on Sunday too, in the morning. So I want you go with me, because we're going to preach. I'm going to preach in this church this Sunday, and I want you all come with me.
Mm.
And I just go to your house and see all these things. So we decided that go with him. In the road, we tell them, we went to your house yesterday. And this is what I see. Bam, 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 bam. Pastor stopped the car. He apologized. He tell us, you see and it was true. You see the clothes in my car? He will have clothes in it. I didn't sleep in my house. I just came from a parking lot. I was in a parking lot, sleep in a parking lot. This is something that nobody knows. That it's true. We have a problem with his wife, and she's in a different path now. So he decided to just not be in the house when she doing things like that. And he didn't tell nobody that. It was just, he's having his struggles. He have his own battles. Mm-hmm. So he just want to continue doing positive stuff. So he's just, and we see it, and we see the honesty on what he was saying, and we just take that, and he tell us, you know what, the conference will know. I have to tell them. I just want you to let me tell them. And we tell them, no, you don't worry about us. For us, it's okay. But those kind of stuff, those kind of situation especially for a newborn baby, can deceive you and turn it down. But when I say that question that night, that voice was so important for me because it helped me for the rest of my life, even up to today. Even when I'm talking to you right now, that is the voice that I still hearing. That is the voice that I still following in my journey. This is my, and I'm not gonna tell you here that I don't have struggles. I have struggles every day.
In a way, Mr. Wong, I think because of, I'm a pastor, so I resonate with, I sympathize with that pastor because it's at times that as a pastor you kind of feel like alone, and that pastor was struggling.
He was struggling alone.
He was struggling, and I just feel like to know like that you guys told him, hey, we saw you, but at the same time, like, hey, we're not here out to get you. I think that is also like a big thing.
And we, if I see that pastor there, what we said, he knows that we was close. He respect what we decided to be with him. Was just be friends.
Exactly.
Just be friends. Don't we're not judging you for. We're not. No. We are not in that department.
Yeah.
This is not in the church. We should not be a department of judging people necessarily. We know we're gonna make mistake, but the main point here, and when we talk about faith, is that we need to allow people to make mistake and make sure that person have an encounter with God.
Yeah.
But and whatever happened is because that person have that encounter with God, not with me. I have to be the least in that encounter. My job is to be a servant, supporting you to get that encounter with God.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, and it also kind of shows like the love that you showed him is kind of reflects a little bit of the love that God shows us when we're going through struggles and through emotion. I mean, you guys didn't judge him. You guys just said, hey, you're here we're here for you, and you got to do what you got to do. I mean, I think that just spoke a lot of words about you, of just that love that you gave him.
And I have to say that's the biggest one for me. There's more stories, of course. I can tell you a little more, but I say again, that was the biggest one because I was barely starting in the church, and at that moment, the enemy almost made me throw everything back.
So you kind of answered it already, but I do want you to really emphasize, 'cause I feel like you hit such an amazing point, and how did that experience, how did that struggle help you find home?
Well, I probably say it already, but home for me was that, I guess, finding that my relation or my faith has to be based on God. One of the things that I find out also too is that you will never stop having troubles or struggles as you continue in this journey of faith. You're not gonna stop. Why? Because it's already in the Bible. We're living in a sin world. So this is not the world we want to live. We expecting Jesus Christ to come back and change all this. Well, as long we're still alive, as long we're still here, we're gonna have struggles. We're gonna have difficulties. The main point is in who you trust, in who you believe. So God helped me with that small experience, and as I say, I have other experience, but for me, that's the one I always use when struggles come to my life. Right? And that's not, well, I guess we don't have the time to share all of them, but when I start getting in troubles or when I get struggles in life, that's the voice I look always. The Lord make me put in my head that it's all about Him.
Yeah,
it's all about Him.
In every aspect of your life, it's Him. And like you said, the struggles won't stop, and they don't stop. You can be convinced that, hey, Christ is my Savior, and you have faith, and the struggles will continue. But I love how you put it, is that moment, instead of it being a destruction point in your life, it reminded you, like, hey, this journey isn't about a man. This journey isn't even about me. It's about Christ. And go ahead.
I have to say too that because I was single at that moment, but after that in my journey of faith, my wife she will play a really positive role in my journey in faith. She is a daughter of an Adventist person, so she born in the church. So she knew a lot of stuff more than what I knew about the church. So her experience is different than mine, definitely, but her connection also too with knowing how the church worked helped me also to keep on going with the faith in our house, in our home. So I have to say that because if you see this and she noticed that I did not mention here, I will get in trouble. But it's true also too. But again, it's all about God. There is so many other stuff that I experience in life, and when I go back, and I always say, God, He have a plan, and He didn't know. I didn't know He had a plan. Everything was meant to be in the way it was meant to be, and He have a plan for me. And I even when I come here in the United States, there were so many other struggles that I can mention, but He set it up in a way that everything was settled the way He planned it, not the way I planned it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if I help you in anything here,
No,
guys.
and let me tell you, because it's God always works, right? Because you kind of emphasize right now that, hey, like my faith is about Jesus. And that's actually ironically what I'm preaching about this Saturday. So don't listen to this until Saturday. But it's one of those things that even your personal faith is about Jesus. And the reason why I started thinking about that is because in Hebrews 12:2, it says that we need to fix our eyes upon the pioneer and perfecter of the faith, which is Jesus. And when you think about that, you're like, yeah, the struggles can come, the doubts may come, but the person who perfects my faith is not me. It's God. And through your whole life and your struggle in that moment, it's like God was using those experiences to perfect your faith, not because of you, but because of Him.
I can't say it better than that. And you're right. And again, today I have struggles, and I fight those struggles now because I have the power to fight it. I fight it because I just say, God, you make a promise. I put it in your hands. This is your problem. This is your struggle, not mine. Just take it and let me move on. But again, you say right, it's all about Him. It's all about, and I say this because I guess somebody probably is listening. Somebody probably have the same experience like me. It's coming from not the church. It's coming from outside, and he is struggling right now to open his heart to God. And I struggle a lot. I probably didn't mention it because will be too much time. But at that moment, as I say, it was not only my family. It was for my own. I would not say addiction, but my own way of living. The way I was living, I was struggling to leave that, to leave what I was doing. My friendship, because I decided not to have friendship with people from the church. I decided to have friendship with people not from the church. So how they're gonna see me now? Because we used to do all kind of stuff. Now I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, so and it changed, and everything changed. Even my friends that was close to me as a no Adventist, they understand the change, and they respect that. They respect, even though we were still in the same room. They're like, no, you know what? I have to make changes, not for anybody. It's just for me.
So I'm curious. Sorry, with that change, kind of, if you could talk about a little bit of what happened when you did go back home. And your brothers, your family. How did that kind of affect you when you did go back home and tell them, hey, I'm baptized. I'm really in this journey.
Yeah. Well, I want to mention just one of the situation, but there was many situations that happened. I went back and I remember my mom, she was happy to see me again for a long time. And she kind of prepared everything that I used to like, rice and beans with pork and all kind of things. And I tell her, already, Mom, I just don't eat pork anymore tonight. She like, oh, wait. She pay attention, but at the same time, she like, yes and no, yes. I have my aunt, her sister. She's Adventist now. But that day, she was paying attention to me. My mom called everybody to eat, and I already see the food, and I already see what I can eat and what I cannot eat. So I like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna fake it. I'm just gonna lay down. I'm gonna fake like I'm sleepy. So they didn't tell me anything. Everybody was eating, and I was like, kind of faking that all that I have to do. But my aunt was paying attention to me. She like, let me see what he's doing. So I just went. I wake up. Yeah, I will serve myself. My mom, I can serve. No, Mama, I will do it. I will serve myself, and I take what I can eat. And then my aunt just get in. I told you. You think just because that's what she's saying to my mom. No, I tell you, you're not gonna eat your food because now he's in that church. She did say another word for that church that is not. Now they changed his mind. You see that? You don't touch it, he's not gonna eat your food. You work so hard for this food, and now he's not doing this and that. It created a big scenes in the house, and everybody start looking like, well, why you doing this? What the church is doing? Are they changing your mind? You need to get out of that church, And even though it's a church of your grandma, but it's not your church.
Yeah.
And my brothers also too, like we can't hang out together anymore because you and that church. I mean, I did have some troubles and situation and encounter with my family because of that, because you get in the church and some of them I can't say it all, but it was a little bit difficult. Even going Saturdays is why you don't go Saturday and do for it? Because I was why you don't do this on Saturday? Why you don't do that on Saturday? And my brother especially, the one next to me, because I'm the older, the second one is really close to me. So we always do things together. So now not doing it together is like, what's going on with you? We are brothers. Why you not hang out with me anymore? Why you don't go with me with that place? And I feel bad because it's my brother, but at the same time I tell him, I trying to change for something better, for something good. He was really mad with me, but at the end, little by little, praying with God, I didn't argue with nobody. Even when my aunt was antagonizing with me, and I didn't answer. I didn't say anything. I just tell her because of the food. I tell her, well, I not eat this not because it's just me. It's because God say so. Where in the Bible say so? Mm-hmm. So that opened the opportunity to talk to her about what the Bible say. She was still mad, but at least she listened to my explanation through the Bible. I didn't say, I just tell, this is the Bible saying it. And I leave it like that.
And 30 years later, you're a head elder in our community now, so full circle.
It's a full circle, yeah. And the good thing is that now my family, that same aunt, she baptized in the church. My mom baptized in the church. My dad, I have two of my brothers also too. I have a couple of cousins. It's been growing in my family, the message. But it's all because of God.
Yeah.
It's all because
of God and your grandma's prayers.
Oh, yeah.
Your grandma's prayers. Yeah. But yeah, I really want to thank you, Mr. Wong, for taking us through that journey of your life and seeing how even if you do your best to avoid it, God has a special way to convict your heart and say, hey, I'm here. And even in the moments where we struggle and we might think like, oh, am I committed to a man or to God, and
Mhm.
He leads us through those moments. And you hit something kind of a while back. You said, and for those watching, if you're struggling, with a similar situation, because I'm sure people probably go to church and are let down by men. And I think the key lesson that you gave us today is we're not here because of someone. We're not here because of a person. We're not here because of a pastor or an elder. We're here because God has me here, and He's the only reason I'm here. And we're just so grateful that you're able to take us through that story today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me. I think I take too long, no? I talk too much.
No, I think you could have gotten even more.
No, yeah, it seems like you got stories. It
Yeah,
seems like you
I
got
do,
stories.
but I don't want to take the entire time for it. But I appreciate that. And again, don't stop doing good things like this. It's a blessing, and I can see the Lord open doors through this to other people to see the experience of the young people, or the young people we are, that can also help other people to find faith.
Yeah.
And getting to know the community, like I said, that's
Yeah.
why I think it was very important for you to be one of the first episodes, because now it's like, hey, this is not just a guy who is considered a leader in my church. This is someone that I'm starting to understand his story. So now when you're here praying for people, it's not just, oh, this is my elder. No, this is my community.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, thank you so much, Hermano Wong. Thank you so much, Mr. Wong, for being with us in the second episode of Found Faith. You feeling good?
Thank you. No, it's a privilege.
Yeah, it's
a privilege more than anything else.
Yeah. Other than that, again, thank you, Mr. Wong. I appreciate
If you want to invite me again,
we will.
come
No, we
on,
will.
invite me. I
We
mean,
definitely-
anytime you need me,
we
I'm
will.
here.
A reoccurring guest.
Yeah, I feel like I still have questions and everything.
I
See.
have story, but
Yeah.
this is, I guess, just the beginning. No, We have
yeah,
time.
for sure.
Now,
So-
hopefully you heal up and no more injuries by the next episode.
The next time you're gonna come with me and do
thank you.
mountain bike.
Nothing.
No?
It would be cool to actually put the mountain. I need y'all to see this man jump off a cliff. Like if we could put that in, that would be amazing, because it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen.
Yeah, that's what my wife said.
Yeah, no, I get it. But yeah, thank you again, hermano,
Thank
Mr. Wong,
Mr. Wong,
for
thank you.
guiding us today through this experience.
Thank you,
Journey.
Oliver. Thank you for inviting me, guys.
Well, other than that, guys, I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys continue to, tune in. And even then, with these stories, if you guys are interested in coming to, our church and coming and see this guy preach this
229
Saturday.
Hollywood Avenue,
Yeah. So Dallas, Texas,
Dallas, Texas,
zip code.
75249.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
But other than that, guys, thank you guys very much, Mr. Wong. Thank you for your time and everything. I really appreciate you. I think it's given us a different perspective of you, and just gratitude towards you. And I mean, it's just appreciate you
Thank
so
you,
much,
guys.
Mr. Wong.
Appreciate it.
Other than that, guys, thank you guys very much. Yeah.
Stay tuned for episode 3.
Yeah. Episode
Bye.
3, guys. Yeah, have a good one.
That's the way you shot.
Yeah. Good, man. That's it.
Episode 3. Cut.
Yeah.
I feel I talk too much.
No.